Now in this video, let us try to clarify the concept of tuple using a Python program demo. And so let us start with our previous list where I have stored like a 9.33, then 22, then name, then another 67.8654, then the string Python, like this. So let us start from this printing this list. So let me run it, and as you can see that, well, everything have been printed properly like a 9.33. So everything have been stored in the list. Now let me just initialize a tuple. So as I have discussed in the previous video, tuple is almost same as the list. Just let me change the name of the variable just to for easy identification. You can use any variable name. So almost same as this list, but only difference that you have to do remember, instead of this opening and closing box bracket, you have to utilize parenthesis over here. And this is how Python interpreter basically distinguish between a list and a tuple. So that is it. So whenever you will declare a tuple with using this opening and closing curly brace, Python interpreter will automatically identify it as a tuple. So now let us see whether this tuple have been stored properly or not. So let us try to print tuple3. So that should give me the same output as my list 3 because all the members are same here. So let's see whether I got like two different times. I should be able to see the same output in two different lines. So if I just run it, so well, as you can see, the first one is list in opening and closing box bracket, and the second one is same content, but this time it is a tuple, that is inside opening and closing parenthesis. So now let us see what are the difference. So as I have told earlier, you can always change the content of a list at any point of time. So let's change the content of list 3. Let's say I want to change the content of 22. So list 3, this is 0, 1, 2. That means it is the index 2. So let's change from 22 to, let's say I'm changing it to, let's say something like B, or any type of character or any type of number or whatever you want, you can do that. So now let us just print, let's say print uh, changed list, just so that you can easily identify which one is the change list. Change list 3 equals, and then I can print this list 3. So this is my old list 3. So let's say, just in order to distinguish them properly, so this is my old list 3 now, and this is changed list 3. So let's see whether the element 22 have been changed to B or not. So let's run this program. And as you can see, the old list 3 was showing 22 at 0, 1, 2, the index 2, but in the new changed list 3, it have been changed to B. From 22, it have been changed. And now not only 2, you can change any number of element. Let's say instead of Python, the last element, I want to change it to C++, something like this. Or let's say list 3 in here, and so this is my 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, index 5, and instead of Python, I just want to change it to C++. like this. So let's see whether the change list shows C++ in here or not. And if I just run it, as you can see, change list have been changed from Python to C++, the last element. So this is possible. So in list 3, you can easily change the list. But now let us try to do that with tuple. So let me just write down like old top3 equals, then print this tuple3, and then let us try to do the same thing on tuple. So let us do this, and instead of list3 variable name, I am just changing it to top3 because that's my variable name for tuple. So top35 equals C++ and top32 equals B, and then if I just print it, let's say instead of list3, I'm just changing it to top3, and also I'm printing the value of tuple3 here. So I have just copy pasted the code and just changed the variable name all the time. So now let us see whether the program runs correctly or not, whether I can change the values of tuple or not. So now if I just run it, as you can see, there is an error. And what is the message in this error? That tuple object does not support item assignment. So, and that happened in line number 11. So in the line number 11, what I wanted to do is I tried to change the value of tuple3 index 2. So that is not allowed. So not only that, let's try to comment out this line. So let's see whether maybe there is some other type of error or something like that. So let's see whether this run this time or not. So if I run this again, as you can see, it is again showing me the error similar, the same error for line number 12, where I have tried to change the value of tuple3 at 5. So let me just comment it out, and now let's see whether I can run it or not. Now as you can see, I can easily run it, and well, these actually could not change anything. So just print some nice message like you cannot change tuple. So printing old top3. So old top3 again. So let's call it. So again, printing old top3, which is tuple3. So if I just run it, as you can see, it have been printed. So you cannot change tuple. So I am again printing old tuple3, and here is the content of top3. And not only that, if you want to access each item individually for a tuple, that is also possible. Like let's say index equals 0, and then I'm using a while loop, then index less than 6, because there is 1 2 3 4 5 6, so 6 elements, so it should go from 0 to 5 index. So here, and let us just print top3 index, and finally index plus equals 1, which is same as writing index equals index plus 1. So now if everything goes fine, you should be able to see all the elements of tuple3, which is this one, one after another. So I mean in each individual line. And just let me differentiate it with a print message. Print the elements of top3 accessed individually through their corresponding index. So that message will simply distinguish the entire part from our previous code. So now let us run it and let's see whether you can see all the elements here listed, all the elements of the tuple listed or not. So if I just run it, as you can see, as expected, from A 9.33, 22, name 6.67.8654, and then Python, it have been printed in each individual line. So that is about tuple. Everything else is same as list. The only difference is the syntax. Instead of box bracket, you have to use opening and closing parenthesis. And the major difference is you cannot really change the tuple at any point of time. If you want, you are going to get error.